Hello, guys, and welcome today. I am going to speak with John, and I call him Polymarket John. It's a friend of mine, and he basically lives and breathes Polymarket bets. And I was not big fan of Polymarket, but after this conversation, I got truly interested in this. I discovered one bizarre fact that I'm now sitting in Bulgaria recording this, and Polymarket is blocked officially on Bulgaria. So I had to use VPN to actually get in. But if you want to learn more about Polymarket, and it's not a deep dive for experts, it's more for people who don't know Polymarket just yet or don't use it very frequently. If you want to learn more, just listen to today's conversation. I guarantee you will walk out with some interesting takeaways. And maybe you'll get interested as I did and you will download the app and start playing. Whether it's on politics or whether it's on football, it doesn't really matter. But John is big on politics and unusual events, let's call it that, because he believes, he can find more asymmetries there. And I believe him. He's doing it for over 10 years and he's been doing it very profitably. So there must be something there. So listen to my conversation with John.
It's about the opportunity. So whenever I see a discrepancy between my subject odds and the market one, I just participate. As a general rule of thumb, as the elections are getting closer, I'm participating more because there's even more liquidity and more interest.
Everyone, and welcome. This is one of the first podcasts after we rebranded from Web3 Magic to BuildBetter and merged the podcast with the newsletter, but I am sure you will love it because today I'm talking to Polymarket John. And obviously, I guess most of you already know it's not name Polymarket John. His name is John, but he is PolymarketBull. He actually works Polymarket almost every day, and he considers it to be a profitable endeavor. And we are going to talk about why, because I've never really gotten into prediction markets. Honestly, never tried, never really enjoyed them. But when I talked to John, he sort of turned me around and I started considering it as an interesting gamified way to potentially make or lose money. Nothing of this is financial advice, obviously. So, sit with us and make up your own mind. Welcome, John.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all listeners.
Wonderful. It's great to have you. We've been preparing this for quite some time, but, sometimes things take time. So why don't we start, since you're the expert, let's start with a simple thing. What is Polymarket and how does it work? Because I think a lot of people hear, Polymarket, prediction markets, and they sort of think it's just a crypto thing. Maybe it's just for crypto bros. And I think, it's kind of a mainstream thing. And some people betting on Polymarket maybe don't even know that it's crypto.
Yeah. So what's Polymarket? I think the Polymarket can be defined as a prediction platform, and this is basically what needed to be said. Yeah. So it has many layers of understanding, but the prediction platform is the best one, best definition, and what it actually means. There are many things happening around the world that people are trying to get a sense of what it might end up being in the reality, what will happen and what will not. And Polymarket is a platform where this specific things can be decided, where people can tell what will happen and what will not. Those people that will be right will be rewarded, and people that will be generally wrong will lose their money. And this is the way how wisdom crowd or how people with money will tell you what the future look like or what they think it look like.
Okay. So can I imagine it in a way, just to make it visual for our listeners, that basically there are always two sides to the market, and I am buying one of the sides because I believe the outcome is either yes or no for the question which I'm seeing, right?
Yes, exactly. It's a perfect zero-sum game, as I call it. uh, on one side there is somebody losing money, on the other side there is somebody winning money. On the average, nobody is losing anything. Average is kind of hard to imagine, because always there are like small amount of people that have clue. So yes, it's indeed a zero-sum game, a perfect zero-sum game. On one side, there are people that lose money. On the other side, there are people that are winning the money. Only the guys with a clue can, in long term, make money. And who is paying it? Actually, those guys that do not have the clue. Everybody has just random opinions about the thing. Then, on average, nobody's making money on anything. Yeah? So that's how it works.
So basically, that's what you are betting on, that you are the guy which has a clue and you are taking the money of the others. Is that right?
Well, kind of, yeah, because if I had not
Fair.
my belief of having some clue, that I would not rationally participate in such a market. And of course, if you are playing a zero-sum game like this, or a poker, or whatever, then you have to deal with the fact that you are actually taking money from somebody who is not so well educated or so good at this game. Yeah.
Totally, totally. I think, there is actually a lot of zero-sum game markets we participate in every day. So just tell me how you got to Polymarket or prediction markets in general. Was it always your interest, or was it by accident and then you just discovered that you actually had a knack for it? How did it start before we dive into different details?
Yeah, I can tell it's my pleasure to participate in predictions for some time, especially the political predictions. I think
Okay.
it's already like 10 years already, so it's some time.
Okay, wow.
Even long before Polymarket came, I was quite successful in these types of markets. I was also developing. So when I look backwards from my first predictions, I was such an amateur from my standpoint of view of right now. But at that time, it was enough, so I stick to it, and it became my hobby actually. Yeah.
Okay, wow. So that's we could say that you have a long-standing betting career on predictions.
Yeah, I would say so.
So you mentioned political things, which I guess everybody at least heard about, betting on election outcomes. Probably not everybody participated, but I think we all have our opinions, even if we don't bet on them. Is it the political side interesting because there is more bias and there is more opportunities to actually make money because, of the arbitrage and biases and everything? Or is it just because you were interested in politics and it was just a natural extension of what you were interested in?
Well, yeah, I was always interested in politics in some way. And what fascinates me is that people often bet their beliefs and are biased also. Therefore,
We all
this
are.
system like pushed me into being as unbiased as I can, because if I make a prediction and I'm somewhat biased, I lose money. Yeah, so if I'm not biased and I'm kind of looking the truth, the fact, I can win money. It's not guaranteed, but I can win. And if I'm behaving biased, I lose money.
Hmm.
So it's a hard school, as I would call it, but it enables me to see things through different lenses. Yeah, so if the market is filled with sometimes filled with people with different biases, I try to bring some unbiased view, and so to say correct the probability of some outcome as I think it should be. Yeah. And by the way, my endeavor, my part, my participating in this is making actually one good thing, and that's some outsider who does not understand this betting thing at all, but know what probability is, can now rely better on the prediction of these markets. So you can go sleep and know which politician will win next day. So
I
sometimes he
see.
has better dreams, for example.
I see. I see. Okay. So you're basically doing good for the world. There we go.
Yes.
That's, I guess, everybody's dream. Do good for yourself and for the world altogether. So, do you bet on like elections in specific countries, or I will dwell on the elections just for a bit, but and then
Yeah.
we can move on. But I'm just curious, or is it just U.S. or is it just your home country,
I
whatever
think I'm
country?
betting whole world. There are countries that I know better than the others. There are even countries that provide bigger markets, bigger questions. Well, it's always about the public, what the public gets interest in. So if you take American elections that everybody is watching, that the market is the biggest in the world, of course. So I
Sure.
have to participate, so to say. But there are even some small countries not of any interest generally. So the markets are smaller, the opportunities are smaller, but sometimes I have some clue about these countries as well. So it depends, but mostly I do the markets that are more crowded, I would say.
Okay. Um, Probably question of from someone who doesn't really understand Polymarket very well, which is myself. But do you start new markets yourself, or you just participate, or is it even possible to start a new market on Polymarket like a
Well,
physical
yeah,
person?
you can start your Polymarket markets if you want. The procedure is like you are coming to the Discord server or some type of communication service with the Polymarket operators, as I would call them,
Mm-hmm.
and you ask for some markets to be created. Yeah, so as of right now, you cannot directly create your own market, but you need
Okay,
to ask somebody to actually help you. It's
got it.
yeah.
Do you
Uh,
have to pay for it, or it's basically, I don't know, you should probably do some
Well,
deposit or
it
something?
depends. It depends.
Depends.
Sometimes they will pay for it because if you are
Mhm.
like asking for creating, I don't know, a big market. I would even say this market would have been created otherwise without you. But
Okay.
if you want to create something very specific, there needs to be money to be put on at least for the resolution. Hopefully, talk later how this works. Yeah. So it depends. I would say it depends. If you want something very special that would not otherwise be possible, it's good to pay for it.
Got it. Okay. Well, so let's come back to the simple flow. So we know what is Polymarket right now. We actually know how you got to it, and that one of your favorite areas is politics. So can you walk us through how you do the Polymarket scan, like daily, weekly, monthly, every hour? Do you bet every day, or just when the specific and ideal circumstances present themselves? And do you just bet once at one specific time, or you basically monitor that one market and maybe add to the bet or sell the shares before resolution? It's like, what's the flow which someone can imagine if they want to go and bet? How would that look?
As always, as I say, it strongly depends. Strongly depends. As you might know, the elections are not coming periodically, or like periodically they come, but the periodicity is like in 4 years or in 5 years, etc. So you
Sure.
don't have elections every week. You don't have elections every day. Therefore, I'm not like participating in every minute, every hour, every day, but I'm participating when there are actually some interesting elections ahead. To the
Okay.
question of timing, if I participate a day ahead or a week ahead or a minute ahead, it also depends. It's about the opportunity. So whenever I see a discrepancy between my subject odds and the market one, I just participate. As a general rule of thumb, as the elections are getting closer, I'm
Hmm.
participating more because there's even more liquidity and more interest. But there are also elections that I participate like, I don't know, a half year ahead, and that's enough because then I contribute to the market
Wow.
correction or the correcting market to my point of view. And when the market does not change from this my contribution, then I don't need to contribute anything more.
Hmm.
So I consider this market to be correct, so to say.
I see. I see. So that leads me to the question. I think you can sell the shares on Polymarket before the event actually concludes, right?
Yeah, you can.
And so do you typically wait for the resolution? Because we will talk about resolution and how it works.
I will repeat myself once again. It depends,
It
but
depends. Okay.
what's the source? It depends on. So if you have most of the markets, well, if you know the outcome already happened, then you are just waiting the resolution. Most of the time I don't sell because I don't see a reason to, at least. Sometimes I sell prematurely because I'm not certain about the outcome. The probability that I gave myself is in the market bigger than what I consider to be fair, then I sell even before the thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
But there are specific markets like the US elections where I'm generally cautious because the market is so big that if you actually wait for the resolution, playing some unsound game theory game
Mm-hmm.
because of the mechanism how the resolution actually works.
Okay. Got it. So it nicely got us to the fact that there is something called UMA protocol or UMA protocol, and it's somehow important for the resolution, and the resolution process is kind of a weird process, I guess, for outsiders. So can we talk about that a little bit?
I think it's actually the most important topic we've discussed up to now because everybody knows somewhat knows what the poly market is or how it operates, or you are dealing with some predictions. But the true devil, I would say, is the oracle problem, because if you have some kind of decentralized platform, you need to have some basis that decides what's right and what's wrong. Because in centralized platforms, you have an authority that will tell you this happened and this did not. But if it's some kind of peer-to-peer network, you have to have some system that you rely on, and it's UMA in the case of the poly market. So what's the UMA actually? It's some kind of oracle platform that is like a judge. It's judging if the outcome is right or not. And what they are judging it upon, they are just voting about it. You have some market. Basically, most of the markets are without UMA needed to take part in them, because if you have a market, you can call the market, and if it's not disputed, your call is considered to be right. But if it's disputed, you need to have some kind of a court above you that will tell what's right and what's not, and it's the UMA protocol.
I see. So UMA is basically like optimistic oracle kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you have trouble, because who are the judges? Who is the deciding one? Who will tell the truth and what's right and what's not? In the case of the UMA, there are some pseudonymous holders of the cryptocurrency UMA, and this currency gives you some voting right. They are voting anonymously. The vote is not known ahead. You don't know who is voting for what, and there's some period in which they actually take the vote, and after some time it's public. In the public statement, you still don't know what wallet voted for what. It's I think necessary, because if you know what wallet is voting for what, there might be some problems for the specific wallet and the currency holders.
Totally.
But what is the problem there? How do you know that these wallets will actually act in the best interest? What's the incentives? What is the game theory? Why it's not a sound game in some cases for me? Because these people that are actually voting with these tokens, they are just mostly risking the value of their tokens. Yeah, so the thesis is, if the protocol will decide on the reality that people consider to be true, aka will not say the things happen when the things did not, value of this token should be there, some kind of should be. But if they are not doing it, people will be not satisfied with their action, and the token become worthless, or should become worthless, because nobody will want to have such a judge. Yeah, that's the problem. Typically, the problem is when the value of the protocol, UMA, taken in, let's say, a fully diluted market cap, or even I would consider the liquidation value, or what the value would be if we try actually to sell these tokens, is a lot lower. I would say even like what's lots is like magnitude lower than the market they are resolving, and that might actually be a problem.
Okay. Are there any like historical public cases when it didn't work well, or you for sure have some experience with UMA, so any
Yeah,
examples where it didn't really work out for you?
I would say I would mention two cases. One is that thank God went well, but the economic incentives or game theoretic incentives might not be there. This is the case of the U.S. elections, because it's like the biggest market in the world, and I don't know, the resolution might be about some kind of multiple $billion, with the coin having like $100 million in cap. So that's
Mhm.
like one important case that stood the test of the time, even though there might be a good incentives to
To
for
basically
the
rug
UMA
it.
holders. Yeah, basically. And the second case, or it's like not the second, there are many cases actually, like some more complicated markets, because you can define a market. Often you have a market, the opportunity, you have there written the rules, and sometimes the thing that happens is such complicated that it cannot be easily decided what's right and what's not.
Right.
So one specific case I remember was the Titan submarine that was like trying to get to the wreck ship of RMS Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
And as your listeners might know or might recall or remember, the voyage did not end up well. They actually lost connections and were considered to be lost, aka destroyed somewhere under the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to the interest of the broad public, and there was actually a betting market about it. I don't know if it's like if you consider it moral or not, yeah, because you are not like betting on somebody dying or not. It already happened. The market was about finding them. So
Mm-hmm.
the public might get the information from the market. What's like the probability of actually finding these people, or what time horizon might be even to find them? So there was a market.
And so I don't recall it. Did they find them or didn't?
It's kind of complicated, because what does it mean to find them? What does it actually mean to find them? You need to specify that. And
Right.
here's the trouble. Because the settings of the market considered to be found, as they found. I remember, what was it? Cabin. They need to find a cabin with
Of the
the vessel's
submarine.
passengers to be considered to be found.
Mm-hmm.
There was specifically stated, if the debris are found, it will not, or like the pieces, just the pieces, it will not be
Mm-hmm.
sufficient to be considered to be found. And what
Okay.
happened actually was that after some time, actually pretty short time of period, they found some remainings of them pretty fast. But they actually found a field of debris.
Mm.
Yeah, and now the problem comes, because what's right? Did they found them according to the market rules, or not?
Right.
What would you
Right.
say even?
I can see the problem. Right. So you
Yeah.
probably found everything, but you didn't really found the cabin. And
Can you
so is
found cabin after the implosion? Or, yeah, so
right.
like
Yeah.
it's not even possible. People
Got
actually,
it.
most of the time, I would say, were not even reading the rules of the market. As soon as the
Yeah.
debris news came to the world, everybody was like, yes, they found them, and we are pretty sure. Everybody was like kind of betting, yes, they found them. And I was among the few of the people that actually read the rules, and I was like, oh, I think it's not, sadly, it's not sufficient enough to be considered being found. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
it was quite some hot topic if they are considered to be found or not. and the market came to the resolution to the UMA, and they have to decide. Yeah, they have to decide. And in that case, they decided against my opinion of the guy that actually I consider myself to read the rules properly. By the way, everybody can read them and have state their opinion if they think I'm right or not, because I'm not considering this to be sufficient to claim they found them. But the UMA protocol decided that they actually found them. And
Okay.
so who is right? Who is right? Who is wrong? There are some markets where the specification is not sufficient to the possible kind of outcomes. You always have to believe them that they will act in some kind of trustworthy way, and always there are people, because it's like the zero-sum game. There are people that lost their money. There are people that make money, and they will not came to the I don't know. They will just argue about that and not come to a conclusion who was right.
Right. So that's actually interesting because, so I haven't spent much time on Polymarket. So I always assumed that the markets are pretty much really like easily binary decisions. Will the price be more than this? Will this guy win or not? Things like that. I didn't know that there might be so much nuance as in this case, in a Titan case.
So
That's pretty interesting.
as a recommendation, I would tell to anybody that is kind of participating in those markets, I think the good thing is to read the rules, the first thing. And the second thing,
It's usually a good thing.
yeah, it's a good thing generally. And the second thing is like to be cautious, very cautious when the resolution might be quite complicated, when the market is like not the easily binary decisable. It's like this guy wins or not, this price hits this or not. Yeah. If it is more like if this and this happens and there are circumstances that fulfill it and some are not, I think it's generally good to be cautious about these markets. And most importantly, even for the public that are not participating in these markets, the probability sign might not give them a good information value. Yeah. So if the market is not well described, even the information value of the probability is not good, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I think it's a fair recommendation. Do you want to talk about sizing the opportunities from your perspective? So before we started, we chatted about the thing which I was very interested in, whether you do, manually choose the markets and then, size your opportunities, or whether you use some high frequency trading bots to do some arbitrage things. And the interesting part, that's why we are talking also, is that you do everything manually. So I think sizing the opportunity is a very interesting topic. Do you want to jump on it? Or did we miss anything which we need as a precursor to that?
I think we need to once again repeat that my opportunities are not periodically coming in terms of weeks or days even. So when I
Sure.
see an opportunity, I need to find it, manually find it most of the time. And therefore, I'm not even using some kind of high, low time frame or high time frame trading bots, because the opportunity is like, I don't know how to say it, but you cannot trade with some bots something that is totally unique, as I would say. I don't even think that like the statement that you cannot, you actually can, you can, but it depends what you want to do there, because even there can be markets that when the volatility of the probability is such a big that even some kind of a bot that is botting something that he does not even understand of what it is, but he understands that the volatility is such a big, can be profitable. But I don't use these types of strategies. My basic strategy is that I calculate my own odds, my own probability, and when I have some kind of estimate what the true probability might be, then I participate in the market
Got it.
manually, as I would say.
So maybe just to clarify, it's not only politics, right? But we can probably say confidently that you are not betting on, like, I don't know, sports or football mostly.
Yeah, yeah. As the case of let's say the Titan submarine says, it's like not a political question. So
True.
sometimes some opportunities are not politically heavy. Most of the time, some public question about something that people are interested in. But
Hmm.
most of the times, I tend to participate in politics because that's the field that I have the biggest understanding of. And you most likely will not see me in some, I don't know, football markets or soccer and so on.
Got you. Okay. So let's go to that sizing thing. How does
Yeah.
that work?
For me, it's like no, for me the standard betting procedures are not that much valid because uh, if you are sizing some like I don't know 2% of your portfolio on something and you have 10,000 opportunities that will end it well or not, and on the average you will get some outcome. As if I would be doing this way, I would be like a small fish till today, yeah, because the opportunities are scarce. For me, it's kind of complicated because when I see an opportunity, uh, I I sometimes have a good value, but I need to size in, and I need to deal with the unfavorable outcome probability, even if it happens. I lose big if the unfavorable outcome happens. I win big if the favorable happens, and I can repeat this thing once in a quite a time. It's not that easy, I would say.
So it basically means since you are doing it manually, it makes a lot of sense that most of the times you are preferring larger bets than I would say typical hobby poly market user, simply because you have your belief and the events are not coming up every day, every week.
Yeah.
But I remember we talked about the fact that you made over 300 bets in a week or something, which seems like a high frequency to me.
Yeah, yeah. There are markets, and I just like trying to remember the U.S. market when the opportunity is so overcrowded that the markets move a lot, and depending on what type of people actually came in recently, then I can even be so for me to be like betting too much too frequently compared to other periods of times because actually the odds are moving so fast that I place this unprecedented amount of bets for me at least that's even like as you say 300 times a week. It's like possible, yeah, in some situations.
Wow. Okay. So since you are big on politics and poly market, let's talk a little bit about like more high level philosophical topic. It's like what
Mm.
are poly market use cases, and does poly market have, let's say, power to influence the outcomes in the real world, or you don't think that's the case? Because that's a lot of discussions I've heard people having about poly markets where kind of philosophical on the topic whether you influence the future by betting on it and making it
Mhm.
publicly visible or not. And I honestly don't have the opinion, but I would definitely love to hear yours.
Yeah, well, there are certain things where the incentive is even like pushing some kind of outcome. Most of the time, when you like betting on some kind of one specific person doing something concrete, then you are actually creating an incentive for somebody, for the guy that you are betting on. To do something, that you are creating incentive for him to do it actually. So you are like influencing the future. If it is like more, let's say, in the political terms, then you are like trying to predict what thousands or even millions of people will coordinately do, then your impact on the result is, I would say, pretty small, if there is even some. So, as I would say, fact that you are betting some political party and that the political party has some probability will not, as of now, as of the situation is now, will not influence the result of the elections. But
Hmm.
sometimes in the future, when people actually will collect, like a mass of the people will collect the opinions from these markets and will act upon them, like they do, for example, from the polls, from the
Hmm.
opinion polls. Uh, then it actually can influence the reality even. Yeah, it's interesting. It's quite interesting when the predicting tool actually shifts to be the reality bending tool.
Well, yeah, when you say it like this, it's probably the reason why it was invented by someone, I guess, to
I don't
kind
know.
of
I don't.
bend
Well,
the reality.
I would even not say it was invented for like that, because it's a natural thing. It's like for what the betting on sports was invented for. Yeah. So there was some interest in, like, it's like just the natural thing to happen next. It's like people want to know who will win and are willing to bet on it. And I think it's like betting on horses. It's like very old tradition and so on. So betting
That's
on the
true.
politics is like a little bit newer, but it's just a natural process.
So maybe we basically just took the ancient type of entertainment, which is betting, and put it on chain and started calling it not gambling, but we call it prediction markets.
Well, it's like the difference between gambling and predictions. So for me, gambling is something that you are relying on the luck, and you are basically hoping that luck will help you, because in long term you are like even, or in the expected value, you are even not profitable, unprofitable, and you are just hoping that your luck will help you. That's gambling for me. But if you are actually making educated guesses on something, predicting outcomes is all around us, and for some specific reasons, I don't know why, we call these things just gambling. But
Well, yeah, as you said it, it seemed like maybe we should create a betting market for every new company and startup which is, being built. Uh, Let's call it prediction market on the success of the given startup, and we wouldn't even have to be owning anything. We would just, ride the wave with them.
some kind of rights, but I think that there's need to be a counterparty. So somebody that would be willing to bet against you.
Well, given the fact that 98% of startups fail, I think there would be a lot of betters against me. It's just
Yeah,
who
but
would bet
the
yes?
crucial difference is like when the startup don't feel they're having money. If you actually create a betting market about them, you are just matching the liquidity of some people that think that the endeavor will fail, the firm will fail, and other type of people that think that they will success, and the firm itself does not see a single dollar from it. That's the problem.
That's true. But it allows openly anyone from public to participate in early stage
It's right.
markets.
It's right. It's right.
Cool. We want to talk straight away about the murder incentives and possibility to create a murder market, or we totally leave it at the end?
I think we can. We can. It's like quite, I would say, controversial topic. Very controversial topic,
It
actually,
is.
because there are two possibilities how to actually create them. One is like the very direct, that I have not seen yet, and hopefully I will not see in the future. I hope. But the second is the indirect that we actually see now. Yeah, but the first to the direct one. So theoretically, you could create a decentralized market, create a market betting on somebody dying, aka create an incentive for somebody to kill somebody else.
Right. But
This
and when we
market.
are talking about creating market which has probability for someone dying, it may also mean the old person running a company or running a country or anything, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be created directly for the purpose of, if somebody's going to be shot.
Yeah, but if you are dying from whatever cause, it doesn't matter. But if the resolution is like if this person lives or not, then it's implicitly creating this incentive, no matter how this poor person dies. So
Right.
it always creates an incentive for somebody trying to shot somebody else and so on. Yeah.
Unless it's written in the rules.
Yeah, unless it's written in the rules, right? So yeah, unless it's written in the rules, which everybody reads, right? Okay, yeah. So this is like the very direct thing. And well, if you came, for example, to the Polymarket platform and ask for creating such a market, you would be denied. Yeah, you would be denied.
Right,
If there is
obviously.
a possibility of creating a new decentralized platform that would allow it, well, theoretically, but yeah, it's like the very very direct thing, and I don't see much cases to create it on this basis. And the second type is like the indirect, but we see it already now type of thing. So
Huh.
if you take a bet on some mostly publicly known person, a person of an interest of the public, then there are markets of like what this X person will do next, yeah, or will this person become elected, or will this person visit this time of venue, and so on and so forth. And actually, betting on these types of occasions or of these markets, you are creating a head bounty on these people, because obviously if you are betting on somebody becoming a president, and the president is killed, then the market must resolve in a sense that this guy is not becoming a president.
Right, yeah, okay. I didn't see that one, but
Yeah,
I
yeah. One would
definitely heard a
argue,
lot of people betting on some other people, famous people doing something, being somewhere.
yeah, one would argue that it's like some kind of a cost of becoming a public known figure. If you are trying to become a president, there are many threats to your person. Even if there is some kind of this head bounty, there's like one among them.
Hmm.
Uh, to my knowledge, as of now, I have not seen some type of murder being like well, not incentivized, but being committed based upon this like head bounty. But what the future brings, like the question. And the sad thing is like you cannot do that much. You cannot do that much to avoid these things. You can, yeah. Whenever you are betting on some specific person becoming something, then it's some new type of risk that was not present in the old days.
Right, definitely. Now I'm thinking in which direction I want to go because we are, sort of getting towards the end, but I still have two or three more questions. So, do you see any other use cases for Polymarket outside of, just betting on things? Is there any like potential future that it will, for example, become permissionless, or it wouldn't be a good idea, um, or it could, facilitate a little bit more than just, let's call it, entertainment at the moment?
Well, I think the main like the strategy that this thing even exists is the betting itself. Would I call it fun, or like some kind of entertainment? Kind of, but I think that even the endeavor of creating probabilities, the probability creation or estimating, is not just an entertainment. It's like some kind of fundamental information that is missing in the public discussion, because there are like, I don't know, the newspapers that are claiming this, there are some newspapers that are claiming that, and nobody sees the truth. And then you have a market which actually can at least say what the opinion of these people that are willing to lose or win money on this outcome is. What's their opinion about that? So it's bringing some kind of clarity, and I would not even call it only entertainment. But what are the further improvements or further possibilities that the Polymarket can bring? I don't know if there are like some more totally out of the box possibilities. I heard about the groceries, for example. So people like, so to say, betting on groceries, aka even like, will they bring this type of, I don't know, this type of tomatoes to my house, and they will bring it, and the market resolves to yes, basically buying them in some kind of betting way. But I think the basic use case, or the hardest use case, is already here.
Okay, wow. Yeah. unexpected, but okay. Everything is possible. I learn something every day. So, as we are heading towards the end, is there any question which you wanted me to ask and I forgot to ask? Because I have one more to ask you, but that's a very obvious one, and I'll
Well,
keep it
I think
after
go
that.
ahead. You can ask me. I'm
Okay, so
curious.
I wanted to ask, what are three most interesting markets you're watching now? Because
As over, yeah.
I know that there is a huge market already for the presidential nominees.
Yeah, that's well, it's the time perspective, because if the market is like not 2 weeks ahead or even a year ahead, or in the terms of the nominees, it's like somewhat like almost 1 year and something ahead,
Yeah,
almost 2 years, then you need even to consider the time of the money aspect kind of thing. In terms of poly market, if you actually bet on these markets, you will get some kind of interest rate on your bets, but this interest rate is like not super high one, but yeah, it's something. So it might be just me not participating in these markets yet, because if the future is like 2 years ahead, what do you actually know? You have some basic knowledge, you have some basic estimates, but your probabilities are quite wide. So as you are getting closer to the event itself, then I think the probabilities can be estimated more precisely.
right.
So
So it's
therefore,
going to
I'm
get
not
more
like
interesting.
the most active one in these markets, but there are some interesting markets. For example, well, it might be some kind of a past right now as we talk, because the world is evolving quite fast. But it was the issue of Greenland. It was very interesting market, yeah,
Right,
and everybody was reading news about it. It was like you are waking up in the morning and like reading what's Greenland and where it is and which country will it become or not. Yeah, I have a third one. I would say as of right now, the kind of hot market might be the Fed chairman. The interesting thing is like
oh,
it's already decided or should be decided, because Trump decided to nominate somebody, but
yeah.
there's some kind of wild speculation going on that he might actually change his decision and so on. So this is like some interesting market, I would say.
Okay. Well, with Trump, we never know. So there is
Well,
a
yeah,
market for
yeah,
that.
yeah, and
Okay.
but it's good for us, because it's actually our job to understand him and to create some probabilities about his actions, for example. Yeah? So we
You
don't
see,
complain, I would say.
it's it's so funny. So after today's talk, you almost persuaded me that Polymarket can be even wilder ride than cryptocurrency trading. Think, if you can bet on Greenland and Fed chair, which seems to be like a done deal, it's much better than just waiting for some coin to go up and down. Much
Yeah,
more exciting.
yeah, there's some fundamental reality that you are basing your opinions upon, and obviously, like probabilities can change as fast as the prices. Yes, because eventually the probability is a price itself. If you, let's say, buy an opportunity with 20% outcome probability, and this outcome rises to 60%, then you can sell it and you are 3x. Yes.
Right. Okay, cool. Anything you would like to say, as we are winding down this wonderful conversation?
Well, I would like to emphasize one thing, that for me, crypto has some use cases. I would even say many use cases. Some are more apparent than others. Some are like a hill too high to climb as of right now. But in the case of the prediction markets and betting itself, it's such a natural use case that we are, as the betting guys or the probability estimators were waiting on, was like so obvious to us, because the liquidity was divided among many betting platforms, and there were lots of restrictions to enter there. And as of right now, you have like the world market about world events on one place, almost completely peer to peer, and this is like the use case with the big U.
Right. Okay, which actually gives me opportunity for one more question. So, You are a big Polymarket fan, and there are one or two other platforms which are, have been in media recently, like Toshi and Predict, I think. Are you using other platforms, or you are strictly Polymarket?
Yeah, for me, Polymarket is a lot better because, I consider other big betting markets to be, for example, the Predict It or Kalshi
Hmm.
for like my like political bets. But to enter these markets, you most of the time need to be a U.S. citizen. So there's some kind
Oh,
of
I see.
restriction that is not present in like the open market of the crypto. Well, they have some advantages and disadvantages. Apparent advantage is that the people that do not understand crypto don't even know how to operate in there. They are going for the more centralized platforms. The existence of a such different platform is a good thing because it's broadening liquidity. Because if there are two opportunities that are kind of same rules, each in politics often stands like who will be next president or so, and people are betting on Kalshi and Polymarket. The odds cannot differ that much because if there is a big difference, there's opportunity for some arbitrage I or somebody else can do, and therefore the liquidity in both markets become bigger and the outcome should be more precise.
Wonderful. Well, John, this was a wonderful conversation. You definitely opened my eyes about Polymarket. I am going to check it out and spend a little bit more time on it. And to the listeners, if you have any questions which you would like to get answered from John, just send them down under the video and we'll see whether we can get you the answers. Just don't ask on what he's betting on and how, because that's obviously a secret. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank you,
John.
thank you.